What up, y'all? It's Saturday night. It's actually early Sunday morning. It's after midnight. We closed the restaurant down. We had to reset some things to prepare for Mother's Day. We have a brunch tomorrow. We don't usually have any lunches, so I'm working a double tomorrow after closing tonight. So I'm gonna keep it kind of brief tonight, and then I work dinner tomorrow as well. So yeah, I'm gonna be energetic. I'm gonna be fine. So I'm gonna do a quick secret teachings of Jesus tonight. And I know I always say that, and I know it ends up being like 45 minutes. But tonight we're going to jump out of the Gospel of Philip, and we're just going to read this prayer of Apostle Paul. And I've been eyeing it for a while, and it's been something that I wanted to read to us, but we were in Philip, and we still are, but I just didn't have a good opportunity to jump out. And I guess we were just saving it for tonight. So yeah, I've got to get back up at 7, and I still have to take a shower and eat dinner tonight. So I've got a little ways to go before I can get in bed. I'm hoping I can at least get 5 hours of sleep. All right, so if you haven't joined us for one of these segments before, this is our Saturday night secret sermon where I do the secret teachings of Jesus videos. And basically what that is I wanted to read the Gnostic Gospels. I wanted to read like the Nag Hammadi scriptures and the Dead Sea Scrolls and texts of that nature. And I didn't know when I'd have time to do that. So I thought I would make it a segment where we read them together each week on Saturday night. And so I am not a theologian or anything. I'm just really interested. And so I will read the portion that I usually pick out right before I start the video. And then I give downloads and insights as they're coming through. And so today it's pretty straightforward, although I probably will go back and like touch on some things and unpack what I think that they're referring to. But this I don't think this passage or this portion is too very complicated. So this is the prayer of the Apostle Paul. Some of the first few lines were damaged on the scrolls, and so it does have an ellipsis and a footnote that suggests about 2 lines are missing at the beginning of the text. The letters just before the beginning of the translation at the end of the previous clause may be restored to read, "Your light." So the second line is "Grant me your mercy." So I'm going to just assume that the first line might have been something to the effect of "Grant me your light." Or, yeah, I mean, that seems logical. Okay, so let's pretend it says "Grant me your light." Grant me your mercy. My Redeemer, redeem me. For I am yours. I have come from you. You are my mind. Bring me forth. You are my treasury. Open for me. You are my fullness. Accept me. You are my rest. Give me incomprehensible perfection. I call upon you, you who exist and pre-existed, in the name exalted above every name, through Jesus Christ, Lord of Lords, King of the eternal realms. Give me your gifts with no regret, through the Son of humanity, the Spirit, the advocate of truth. Give me authority, I ask of you. Give healing for my body, since I ask you. Through the preacher of the gospel. Hold on. Give healing for my body, since I ask of you through the preacher of the gospel. And redeem my eternal enlightened soul and spirit. And disclose to my mind the firstborn of the fullness of grace. Grant what eyes of angels have not seen, what ears of rulers have not heard, and what has not arisen in the human heart, which became angelic, I'm going to start that passage again. Grant what eyes of angels have not seen, what ears of the rulers have not heard, and what has not arisen in the human heart, which has become angelic, made in the image of the animate God, when it was formed in the beginning. I have faith and hope, and bestow upon me your beloved, chosen, blessed majesty, the firstborn, the first begotten, the wonderful mystery of your house. For yours is power and glory and praise and greatness forever and ever. Amen. Prayer of the Apostle Paul in peace, holy in Christ. So let's go back in. So I'm assuming that it says something to the effect, it references your light in the beginning of the passage. And in Kabbalah and in our readings that we talk about and our discussions, we refer to the light and the vessel quite a bit. And so in the beginning, before reality was created, before creation, in the upper realms, everything was whole, everything was unified, everything was one. But creator consciousness was just stifled and growing in tension and needed to pour out and overflow this bursting forth and share with. But with what, right? So there needed to be a separation, right? A dividing event. And so light separated from itself and created vessel, a container for which to pour forth light into, so that there could be other, so that there could be sharing, right? So the whole basic principle of reality, of existence, of what drives us, of what motivates us, is that there are two parts of reality, light and vessel. And so we are constantly craving the fulfillment of the light, because we need to share, we need to receive that. It's in our nature to crave it. We want it. We have an unquenchable desire. However, we get distracted because we don't realize that everything around us is the light. It's the creator. And we get hung up on the little vessels that light is packaged in, whether it be a lover, a meal, dessert, money, a trip. We get obsessed with these highs, these things that make us feel what we think is the fulfillment. But really, it's the thing that's fulfilling is the light, the life force within all of these things that give us that burst, that boost. But because we don't realize that what we seek is the light for our fulfillment, we worship idols. We put the material before the non-material, and we think that it's the ice cream that we crave. We think it's the lover that we crave, the attention, the validation. But really, like even the drug, right? The high. We want that energy. We want that power. We want that confidence. We want that clarity. Like the drug is like a really great example, right? Because it's pure energy. It's basically pure direct light, right? But we didn't build a vessel for it. We didn't earn it. So it's just stolen light. So it's going to leave us flattened and empty because we sought our fulfillment from a fleeting source, right? We didn't go to the ultimate source. We didn't go inward, and we didn't see the wonder, that's really there within it all. We chose something small and limited. So grant me your mercy. So grant me your light is the vessel craving the light and asking for it. every time we've ever manifested anything, every time I've ever, like, you want something to eat, you got to go into the kitchen and make something or order it or whatever. Whenever you want anything in life, whenever you want to manifest anything, the seed level, what we need to begin the manifestation is desire. Without desire, nothing happens. Nothing happens at all. There's nothing calling it in. There's nothing conjuring it. There's nothing activating the life force, the light. So yes, grant me your light. Activate that active desire that makes me want to seek it out, to make an effort, to learn how to attain and have an affinity with that light so you can resonate with it and connect with it always. Grant me your mercy, right? It's like this life is like we go through these trials and obstacles and experiences and relationships and adventures and whatnot, but it's all for the development and the unfolding of our soul, right? We're purifying the judgment against us that comes from our darkness, right? Judgment can be just the process that we go through that teaches us life experiences that helps us improve our consciousness, right? Grow our wisdom. But we go through these things, and when we do, it's like we have the opportunity during these challenging times to change our shadow, our darkness, our ego. We have a chance to transform that into light. And so that creates mercy because we've purified the density that's on the judgment side of the scales. In the tree of life, there's the right column, which is mercy, the left column, which is judgment, and there's the central column in the middle. It's the neutral column. Think of electricity, right? So those scales over there, it's like saying, okay, this is the side of mercy. This is the side of all of what you've created that is light, right? This is the good actions that you've done. This is the acts of sharing. This is the acts of, transformation of the soul, or adding to the weight, the scale of the light, right? And they are removing the density, the darkness that we each have on the side of judgment, right? And that could come from past lives, from things that we've done in this life, short circuits we've had, mistakes that we've made that hurt people, whatever, selfish acts, things that would add to that negativity, right? So we're always trying to balance these scales. So grant me your mercy is saying, it's like, hey, like grant me the grace to fill in the gaps as I'm tripping along through life, just trying to balance these scales. Like, oh my God, show me this mercy. Because even if I do my best, I can barely scratch the surface of it all, but as I'm doing that work, grant me that mercy, grant me those miracles, grant me that blessing, those blessings. My Redeemer, redeem me, for I am yours and I have come from you. I am my beloved's and he is mine. His banner over me is love. In him we live and move and have our being. That is something that I say every morning with the Lord's Prayer. It's one of the final lines that I say because it reminds me every day that the Creator, the spark of light, the quantum packets of energy are in everything. That Creator consciousness, the divine, is running through everything. That is what animates all of life, right? Even the energy in the vegetables. Those calories are little tiny packets of individual divine light. So I am God's and God is mine. I live in God and God lives in me. And I have my being in God, in divine. It is everywhere. It is in everything. We are in it as well. Omnipresent. So I am yours and I have come from you. My Redeemer, redeem me. So the redeeming is that the process of balancing the scales, right? the Messiah, the Christ center, is in the heart. That is a level of consciousness, the Christ, that we try to ascend to during this life, right? And it's from when we can redeem the conflicting parts of ourselves, right? There's all these governing forces of reality that make up reality, but also are mirrored and as a microcosm in the human soul. And so these governing forces of the Godhead are within us, and they're in line on the column of mercy, the column of judgment, and the central column. And in order to find that redemption, it's like we have to bring these opposing forces into balance, because each can be a virtue, but each out of balance or, gone to the dark side can be, a vice as well. So it's all about trying to bring these aspects of the soul into healing and correction, and also to purify what has been diluted by our limiting beliefs, by our doubt, by our fear, by our lack, by our judgment instead of our trust, right? You are my mind, bring me forth. So this is like the acknowledgement. This whole prayer is like from a state of a very prepared vessel, a vessel that knows, this isn't my mind. I'm just a flesh bag being animated. And by the way, my consciousness is just a splinter off of the divine consciousness. I am an expression, a unique expression of the Creator, and an experience through this combination of personality that makes Liz, that gets to be like my soul that's going to travel with me life after life. I may go through different names and different genders and different, experiences, but I always keep this soul and I always keep this spirit. You are my mind. So my consciousness comes from divine. And it's the veils that have been put in place for us to forget that give us the process of re-remembering who we really are. You are my mind. It's another thing, like sometimes I'll think about it and I'm like, is my house like, is this, good enough for God? Like when they say cleanliness is next to godliness, and, it's like you see people, cleaning their temples and things. Yeah, because you are the vessel for the experience of divine, right? To peer through. So are your surroundings befitting the God, God, the highest and almighty? Are you taking good care of yourself? Are you giving yourself even enough water? Would you make sure God had enough water? I need more water today. So you are my mind, bring me forth. And that's like the bring me forth. It's like asking like, hey, help me awaken, help me unfold, help me develop, help my becoming, the God's name is I am that which I am becoming, and we have free will. And so it's up to us to pursue this, to ask for it, to demand it even. Be my unfolding. You are my mind, bring me forth. You are my treasury, open for me. It's like, it's never the job that gives you money. We've been talking about this recently. And it's like, when you get hung up on it being the job that provides you the money, that's usually when you have money problems or you have challenges, right? And those challenges are usually there to remind you until you get it, until you're like, oh yeah, the Creator is the source. Like if you reach for your job to give you the fulfillment of security, it won't, because you could get fired at any time or laid off, or your company could go out of business. But if your security is placed on the fact that Creator won't let me down and never has, I am always taken care of. I've always been provided for. I've always been sheltered. My bills have always been paid. I've always gotten what I needed when I needed it. I've never been left out in the cold or abandoned. So that is, you are my treasury. You're the provider. Like, if I don't get what I think I deserve, it's because it wasn't willed for me to have. And if Creator wants me to have, I will have. What is mine and can't be taken from me. And it's like, when we're doing the work and we're changing these aspects of ourselves, and we're doing this alchemy where we're turning our darkness and we're taking chaos and we're grounding it and we're alchemizing it. It's like, what are we doing with all that energy that we're storing, right? It's like all of this transformation and change, like, where do your little brownie points go? It's because sometimes it's not like an immediate, like, oh yeah, I can see I'm totally changed and I can feel a difference and I'm already seeing results. Like, sometimes it's like you don't know what's going to happen, but your effort, your spiritual sharing, your elevated sparks, when you break them down from that negativity and they're released, it goes into a treasury for you, a spiritual treasury. And that might mean that later on you get a really amazing partner, because you stuck it out and you did the work and you waited and you didn't settle. Or maybe you get, like, your dream comes true and it's something that you had put in so much work for so long. So it's like whatever failures that you've had or things that felt like they didn't really come to any fruition or bear any fruit, it's okay, because that was just the lesson, right? You showed up and you did. And so the work that you did wasn't wasted. It's been put in a spiritual bank account. Creator is my treasury, right? Not the payoff from the vessel. The vessel is just a husk. The vessel is just an empty container. It's what's inside the vessel that counts. The only point of the vessel is to hold the contents that we need the container for. You are my mind. You bring me forth. You are my treasury. Open for me. You are my fullness. Accept me. So yeah, that fullness, you are my fullness. It's like you are everything, all encompassed in one. And that is the fullness of my fulfillment, right? When you really are in touch with that, you'll have moments where you're like, oh, I feel so fulfilled. I feel so satisfied and good right now. And it's something that's not coming just because of your outer circumstances or the conditions, because conditions come and go and they change. But what we want is to be able to build like an eternal, meaning non-fluctuating, perpetual, non-changing state of well-being, of serenity, of inner peace. And that fulfillment, that feeling like everything's okay, like even if the circumstances are chaotic, even if things are changing and uncertain around you, it's like you've got that at your core, that you know it's all going to be fine. You are my fullness. Accept me. You are my rest. Give me incomprehensible perfection. So you are my rest. Again, that certainty that even though rationally things may not make sense or things may look like they should be very bleak, it's like we have certainty that the Creator won't fail us, that there is a plan that can be trusted. And the more optimistic and hopeful we are and certain, the more malleable and like flexible we are and ready to answer that call, and also ready to restrict what our like ego and our compulsions want us to do out of reactivity and being triggered, reaching for that instant gratification. It's like, no, we're going to restrict. You are my rest. Give me incomprehensible perfection. That incomprehensible perfection, it's like that ability to be able to overcome the animalistic consciousness to react to stimuli. I want, I need, I yearn, I'm hungry, I'm lusting, I'm scared, I'm, anxious, I need to pacify this, I need to solve this, I need to fix, I need to control, I want to take, I'm hungry, I want to grasp, I'm empty, I need something, I'm grabbing. It's like, no. we're getting to a place of incomprehensible perfection where we're not grabbing and grasping and needing. I'm fulfilled. I'm content. I'm still pushing myself out of my comfort zone. I'm still making an effort. I'm still going after things I still desire. But I'm not aggravated about it. You know, I'm not urgent or feeling like scarce or reactive. I don't need instant gratification. I can see the value in building something with intention rather than quickly grabbing for something. Incomprehensible perfection is being able to have certainty even when things aren't certain. They don't look certain. You don't have details. It's all foggy, but you know if everything's going to be okay and it's going to work itself out, and you're going to be there to work with the situation. Like, you're not going to be like burying your head in the sand and avoiding responsibility. Like, you're fully there, you're fully present, but you're not panicked. You're not making any false moves, right? We're not trigger happy. We're just at ease. And we're serene. And we're calm and we're peaceful. And we're so confident that we can wait till the right moment. Those who are certain of the outcome can afford to wait and wait patiently without suffering. That certainty isn't that we know the answer. It's not that we know that the outcome that we want is going to happen. But we do know that we are going to be carried in grace and in favor and mercy, and that everything can play out for our highest good if we hold the faith that it will, and we act in love and not out of fear. And love doesn't always mean being enmeshed or like doing something for somebody or placating them. Sometimes love is strong, but love is truthful, it's authentic, and it's for the highest good. I call upon you, you who exist and pre-existed before reality and during reality, right? The wholeness of before the vessel, when everything was one, in the upper realms before existence. And then after and during. I call upon you who existed, who exist and pre-existed, in the name exalted above every name, through Jesus Christ, Lord of Lords. Jesus the Christ, again, the Redeemer, the highest level of human consciousness and compassion, right? And wholeness and oneness and unity and nirvana and enlightenment. Lord of Lords, King of the eternal realms. So this level, Christ level, Messiah, I mean, that is above any energy. It's purer than any energy in existence, period. In all the aeons and all the realms and all the orders. So it's the most powerful because it's the most unchanging. It's eternal. It's unconditional. Give me your gifts with no regret through the Son of humanity. The Son of Man is how Jesus referred to himself. The Son of God is how Caesar would refer. It was a propaganda term to exalt themselves. And so Jesus, in a wonderful subversive fashion, referred to himself proudly and humbly as the Son of Man. Give me your gifts with no regret through the Son of humanity, the Spirit, the advocate of truth. Your gifts, the fruits of the Spirit, the gifts of prophecy, right? The powers. Each of us have these ego trips, these parts or aspects that are archetypally true for all of us about our ego that are called the powers. Or they refer to as the powers. And it's like, those are our demons, right? Like the demons within us that we have to overcome. And once we transcend those, it's like we reign over that power. And instead of that power working against us, it's like we rule over that power, and we have now activated that within us, and we use it. We wield it. That those forces that worked against us have now been foiled. Give me your gifts with no regret. And I like this because, in Kabbalah, it talks about how once you've elevated these sparks of light, yes, you may have fluctuating changes in the circumstances of your life, but your soul does not regress. Once it's healed and corrected and redeemed, it doesn't go back. There is no regret. It can't be taken back. It's like once you've healed, once you've done the work, once you've had the epiphany, once you've had the healing and the forgiveness or whatever, it's like that is like you can't take that back now. The healing is done. So there's no regret. Give me your power with no regret. Elevate my soul, elevate my consciousness, turn these divine powers within me on. Help me activate them. Help me activate my healing powers, my powers to show compassion and empathy to my fellow man in a way that's healthy, with boundaries that elevates them, that creates innovation and evolution of spirit. Give me authority, I ask of you. Give me healing. And that authority is that's the authority to your energy speaks for itself. Where you can walk into a room and not do anything, but suddenly it's like everyone is like, oh, you're in charge. What do you want us to do? Kind of thing. And it's like, it comes from like this spiritual center and this vibe about you. And if you've ever been in the room with like a really high level CEO or like celebrities, like you can tell that there's some different energy about some of them, not all of them, but some of them. And it's really tangible. And that's that kind of a spiritual authority, right? And when you do all this work, that interchange, and you start elevating those sparks of light, and you start doing that alchemy within yourself, that empowers you. And you become the authority over these governing forces, right? You have authority over them. You can wield these energies and angels and, what have you. But the angels, they're really just this energetic force, this pure energetic force that's specifically designed and geared towards one thing and one thing only. They don't have agendas, and they don't have feelings, and they're not like sappy and like whatever. They have a job, and they can't be corrupted. They're pure energetic force. Give me authority, I ask of you. I will also say that the more sustained and like consistent you are, and unwavering and unchanging, the more powerful your influence is in the situation, because your signal isn't cutting in and out. You're consistent, you're strong. So even it doesn't matter if it's weaker or stronger or right or wrong, the more consistent energy is going to win out in the room. So give me authority. I mean, that's one way to practice having authority in a space energetically. If you want to energetically influence the space, maintain whatever it is that your energy level is that you want to have over the space. Give healing for my body, since I ask you, through the preacher of the gospel. So it's like, heal my body, since I ask you, through the preacher of the gospel. It's like saying, heal my body in the name of Jesus. And redeem my eternal, enlightened soul and spirit, and disclose to my mind the firstborn of the fullness of grace. So when they say something like firstborn, it means the most pure, concentrated, unadulterated form of the light, of the enlightenment. When the light comes in, it passes through 10 dimensions of consciousness, which are filters that take the intensity out of the light so it doesn't burn us up completely. And at this point, like Paul has been building the vessel, And so he's sort of like done his work, and it does mention that he might be like praying before his death. So he's saying, give me the fullness of the enlightenment. Like, give me it all. Like, no filter. I want to look into the face of God. I want to see it without any dilution. The firstborn is the most pure, the most strong, powerful, intense form of the energy. The first pressing of the olive, if you will. The firstborn of the fullness of grace. Yeah, to have that enlightenment of the mind and that peace of the mind. Grant what eyes of angels have not seen, what ears of the rulers have not heard, and what has not arisen in the human heart, which becomes angelic. Grant what has not arisen in the human heart, which has become angelic, made in the image, or made in the innate image of the inanimate God. So granting what eyes of angels have not seen, what ears of rulers have not heard. Like, so to pray in Aramaic is suggested because angels don't speak that language. So they can't interrupt or bypass or get involved. That means the, forces on the other side as well, the opponent side, the advocate or the adversary, they can't speak that language either. So they can't intercept your prayers or foil them or mess with them or whatever. And so grant what eyes of angels have not seen. It's like, give me this enlightenment that even angels don't know. Let me hear and be privy to things that even the creators of the universe, the building blocks of the universe, don't even know. Like, he wants depth. He wants the revelation. And what has not arisen in the human heart, which became angelic, like depths of compassion and understanding and emotion and magic that have not been experienced yet in human consciousness to the average person. But he's saying this heart, this human heart, which has become angelic because it's been corrected over time through work, through transcendence. When it was formed in the beginning. I have faith and hope, and bestow upon me your beloved, chosen, blessed majesty, the firstborn, the begotten, the wonderful mystery of your house. It's like bestow on me that Christ child, that crown of wisdom, understanding, insight, peace, love, unconditional love, compassion, beauty. For yours is power and glory and praise and greatness forever and ever. Amen. All right, y'all, it was not a 45-minute episode, but it was a 38-minute and 53-minute episode. So with no further ado, I am going to say ciao, Bellas. Be good, but not too good. Happy Mother's Day for tomorrow. Peace.